Ahoy, hoy, friends. Welcome to the Salon. It's Thursday evening. It's time to set an intention and talk about Star Trek. How is the panel doing? Thumbs up.
Good.
Tired.
Hello to our audience. Thank you for joining us. I know we took our time. The panelists are so antsy and ready to talk about this lovely set of episodes. Tonight, we are talking about Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episodes 15 and 16, Ascension Parts 1 and 2. Now streaming on Netflix. Be sure to stream and rewatch, get those numbers up so that we can hopefully get a Season 3 of this wonderful show. Before we kick in, I wanted to make a couple of notes, some programming things, and a disclaimer. But first, I also wanted to note, last Friday, while I was working on clips for last week's episode, I noticed that I had inadvertently misgendered Zero. And so I wanted to apologize for that. And also just note, as I was thinking about it, I know it may seem a little silly with a cartoon to worry about that kind of thing. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized when we put a little bit of effort into respecting any human, any being, even when it may not, quote, matter as much, when it does matter, you're more likely to get it right. So my apologies there. And it does matter, pronouns and how people identify, basic level of respect. With that, I also want to give a quick disclaimer about tonight's episode and all of our Prodigy episodes, and quite frankly, all of our episodes. Star Trek Prodigy is a wonderful addition to the Star Trek franchise that is for everybody, but is geared towards a younger audience. This show is not. If you are under 18, our show is not for you. We are having a couple of drinks. We're smoking, maybe, if that's legal in your part of the woods. We're having a gay old time. So if you stumbled upon this thinking, oh, the kids-friendly show, they're talking about that, maybe I should watch this with my kids. Absolutely not. Children, not welcome here. They are lovely. We love them. Love that for you. Not here in this salon. Now, that disclaimer out of the way, I also wanted to make a couple of quick notes about the channel. I am excited to announce we have a website. It is live. We're doing it live. salontrek.com. You can find our social links. You can find links to a profile page on each of us, everybody on the panel, and our background with Trek and our favorite episode, our favorite series, a fun fact about us, all kinds of fun stuff. This is the first iteration of this. As we move along and we get more subscribers, we get more people in other places. We do want to continue to build a community. So be on the lookout for new ways to engage with the community that we are building, our saloners or whatever we end up calling ourselves. And I also wanted to note that we are now on Spotify. So if you're sick of seeing our faces, but you love the sound of our voices, you can find us on Spotify at Salon Trek, here on YouTube, at Salon Trek on Twitter, at Salon Trek on Blue Sky, and now on Spotify. We will be working on getting us on other podcast platforms as we move forward. But for now, you can find us, of course, on YouTube and Spotify. And here are our faces again. And if you're listening on Spotify, you don't need to worry about it. But hello everybody. It's lovely to see your faces, all of the faces, and our wonderful audience. That is the benefit, of course, joining us Thursday evenings on YouTube. You can join in the live chat and get yourselves highlighted if you say something funny or answer a question, or just because we'll figure it out together. So all of that programming stuff out of the way, I think we should talk about Star Trek. Let's talk about Star Trek Prodigy, episodes 15 and 16 of season 2, now on Netflix. But of course, before we talk about these wonderful episodes, we absolutely must set an intention.
Indeed, we must. So, Saloners, to set an intention tonight, in honor of Kate Mulgrew's brilliant delivery of the line Asencia when Asencia came on the view screen, I thought it would be fun if we went around the room and talked about who our Trek character nemesis would be. And your answer does not have to be a villain. Your answer does not have to be a regular character. Your answer just has to be someone from Trek who makes you want to say their name in the way that Mulgrew delivered that line. Um, as always, I will start us off before we go around the room and share that my Trek nemesis is none other than Lieutenant Malcolm Reed. The man is boring as fuck. He delivers very little to every episode that he's in, except to prove that that ship wasn't ready to be where it was when it was there. And it's no slight to the actor. Dom did what he could do with what he was given. So I don't mean any disrespect to Dominic Keating. I think he did a wonderful job with what he was handed on the page. But unfortunately, Lieutenant Malcolm Reed just never really became interesting. There were opportunities, they were squandered. The most in-depth thing that we know about Malcolm Reed is that he's allergic to pineapple. And I hope to never play a character for 4 years, 26 episodes a year, and that be the most interesting thing that you know about me. With that, we will go around the room, and we'll start with young William.
Why, thank you, old Trev.
Welcome.
I have two because I picked one, assuming that someone would catch it before me. But I also have two. So the first one is Kai Wen, because anytime that bitch gets on screen, it makes me mad, and it's because the actress is incredible, obviously, and the character's written, and I like a villain where they walk on screen, I get pissed, like Asencia. Anytime her ass is on screen, it makes me mad because she's always fucking stuff up. And the other one, which I don't know if it's necessarily a controversial one, is Barkley. I would have kicked his ass if he was on the Enterprise. I've been like, I can't fucking stand him. Like any episode, as a child, I was frustrated by him, and I'm just like the way he speaks, the way he carries himself. I would accidentally have like a phaser go off and hurt him, or like I would plan on ruining his career or something. Like, and it didn't get better in Voyager. It didn't get fucking better. Hate him. Hate Win Barkley. It's on site. On site. Anyway,
the only
I'm glad he wasn't in Picard because fuck him. But fuck the actor, but also fuck that character. He was in too much. No one gives a shit about him. Fucking Broccoli, get out of here. That bullshit.
My only critique is that I don't think he needed help ruining his career. Like, he pretty much did that on his own. So,
yeah, they put him on a fucking station, and it's weird. It's weird. He's a weird guy. Fucking gross. Ridiculous. I've had it. I've had it with him.
And he stalks Troy while she's on vacation, which is.
I hope his ass fucking died during the anniversary day thing. That's my headcanon. That's the headcanon I'm using. Barkley got fucking phasered to death by the Borg. Exactly. Thank you. Fuck him. Terrible. Garbage character. I fixed it. Fuck him. I'm gonna write that into a script. I'm gonna write a whole fucking movie where it just revolves around Barkley getting fucking murdered. Anyway. Benji?
Benji, do you have any rage you'd like to let out?
I do, yes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether. Okay, I'll give you my rage one, which is Narek. He's my least favorite character in all of Star Trek, and it's like for no other reason than I hate his fucking face, and I want to punch his teeth out every time I see him.
He's so pretty, though. He's awful, but he's so pretty.
I hate his face,
especially in the crown.
Are we talking about neckbeard?
Does he have a neck? I don't remember.
We're talking about Narek in Picard season 1.
Yeah, that neckbeard really bothers me.
Okay.
Clearly not doesn't bother me.
Shave him and knock his teeth out.
And bring him to my tent. Okay, excellent. Did you have more than one, or did you just have the one to share?
I have many. It can.
You don't want. Okay.
Fine.
It's a safe space. We can let this out weekly. Joanne, my love.
So I have two. My petty one is Cassidy Yates. Fuck that bitch. Like, Cassidy. I would say it just like Janeway did, like, Cassidy, you fucking hoe. I can't stand her. She's a goddamn criminal. Why are you with the fucking emissary? You're like, you're a criminal. Fuck you. Ugh, hate her. My second one is Neelix. Again, fuck that hoe. Shut the fuck up, Neelix. You talk too goddamn much. You're always in somebody's business. You look like you can't cook. So we're eating your trash dog food while you're just, ugh. I fucking hate, fuck them. Ugh.
Oh God, I am loving every second of this intention setter. Not that I don't love all of them, but oh, this has been a good one.
I didn't
And-
realize
and-
when I had started when I wrote it, but here we are.
Oh, yeah, and both of mine have been taken, but I'll stick with it just to move us along. I was also going to say Barkley. That was my number one. Listen, there has been an attempt to retcon that, not retcon, but to what's it called when you decide after the fact that something, like, you know how, like, we talk about not the offspring, what's the one that was supposed to be a gay allegory but inadvertently ended up being an interesting trans allegory?
The Outcast.
The Outcast, thank you. I knew it was the episode.
It was one of the thus.
This is like, people have tried to, after the fact, claim that Barkley was supposed to be a neurodivergent character. Listen, I have always been sick and tired from the moment it ever first happened. As soon as I became aware of it, I have never not been sick and tired of people using, oh, they're neurodivergent, to explain away shitty behavior. Because for those of us who are neurodivergent and don't engage in shitty behavior, I don't like having my mental health used as an excuse for shitty behavior in others. Barkley sucks. His transporter phobia is whatever, that can be respected, but his hollow addiction needed real treatment, and he didn't get it. He should have been drummed out of Starfleet for the way that he acted with Deanna in the holodeck, plus the transport. Like, you're afraid of this job. What are you doing? Like, go be a holo novelist. That's what your broke ass needs to be doing and wants to be doing anyway. I hate him. Whenever there is a Barkley episode on when I'm watching on Pluto, it's an immediate channel switch. And the worst thing that can ever happen is when you see on Next Generation, it's a Barkley episode. So you go to the Voyager channel and it's another Barkley episode. It's the worst thing that can ever happen on this earth.
It's the closest you've come to feeling like Deanna on vacation. He's
Yeah.
just following you.
Ugh, God. Hyperbole aside, I also agree Neelix sucks. He was going to be my backup in case my first got picked, and then Neelix got picked. He was almost interesting. The Jatrell episode was like, oh, they're going to do something interesting with this character. It was a beautiful episode, and then it went from he's a groomer to he's an annoying godparent. And yeah, he sucked. And again, in universe stuff, although Barkley's actor also sucks, God, why can I not think of his name?
Ethan Phillips.
He's lovely. Ethan Phillips, thank you. And was great on Avenue 5. Lovely intention setter as always, Trevor. I see in the chat.
I broke everyone.
Yeah, the chat is quite lively. Loving it. Loving everything about it. Where did it go? Yep. Yep. I see some agreements. Yeah. Wynn is like a you love to hate her because she's done so well. Some of these other ones, they just straight up suck. This is fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. Maul and her shake and go wig. Fuck her. And again, they should have switched it.
And her dirty ass face. Wash your face, bitch.
Wash your face, bitch. That's right, Joanne. That is right. Oh, all right. Intentions are set. Let's talk about Star Trek Prodigy. But don't worry, everybody. We are going to keep the bitchiness alive. Let's get into our top thoughts. I will kick us off as usual. These 2 episodes are super interesting and lovely. As always, beautiful animation. I cannot say enough about the look of this show. I also liked while we like I love the battle stuff. I'm a ship nerd. I love that shit. We got some really cool stuff in this episode. We got another side shuttle bay. We got some fighters. We got name dropping of Lieutenant Paris, which was whatever, but cute. We also got so we got a quintessential Trek thing, which is a really good laying of the groundwork with a personal log from Dal. His growth has been really interesting. We've talked about this over the last couple of weeks. Was really annoying. Felt like he was backsliding early on, but has made a lot of progress. And his personal log, just laying everything out in this episode, was really interesting. While there was a lot of action in these 2 episodes, I think the Prodigy team did an excellent job weaving in some lovely character moments for practically everybody. Save a few, but they're going to have moments coming up and have thus far. All that said, I do have 3 nitpicks and one like it's really sticking in my craw, and I'm looking forward to us discussing it. Nitpick number 1, ship sizes. They are wildly off in every series. Like it's at the point where I'm wondering if Prodigy is doing it on purpose just to get to people like me, because Prodigy the Protostar it should be smaller, right? Like it's supposed to be like 3 to 5-ish decks. And Voyager is either 29 or 32, depending on which line of dialogue you believe, which is also quintessentially Trek. Nitpick number 2, I thought it was interesting. They call Gwen to the bridge, but then when she gets to the bridge, the way that they were explaining the situation sounded very much like they were just then figuring it out. So it made me wonder on this last rewatch today, well, then why did they call her to the bridge? Because it wasn't that call. Like, it was interesting. And then finally, all of that rigmarole to say, like, everybody needs to go over there, get us this coordinates, just to fire those fucking torpedoes directly in front of them. Like, you needed the coordinates for that. Nitpick, just a nitpick. Those are my top thoughts. I really enjoyed these episodes and super jazzed to talk about it. Let's go to Joanne.
So I like these episodes for the most part. I get a little lost sometimes, or my mind wanders. I'm old. When they start fighting, I'm like, oh, pew pew pew. But I really liked um them kind of finding their way and their purpose, right? And kind of setting up some future stuff. I won't talk spoilers, but I thought that was really nice. And I was deeply fascinated with the whole zero thing. I'm sure we'll talk about it later. So I'll save that for then. But I did just find it fascinating, just this whole kind of the conclusion of this whole sort of body story that's always been equal parts exciting and equal parts problematic for me. But it was an interesting resolution, I thought. Um, I also could have put Asencia on my fuck you list. I'm right there with Janeway. It's really, well, I hate Asencia, but I really hate Jamila. Cal. So I'm just like, I know she's on some whatever, what some y'all love. Some wife, good something, I don't know. Fuck
The
her.
Good Place. How dare you? Hate her all you want. I listen, I get it.
Yeah.
But The Good Place shall not be slandered on this channel.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, she
I'm surprised
she's
you haven't seen
terrible.
it. It's
Yeah.
right up your alley with philosophy and religious undertones. I think
Okay.
you would enjoy it.
I can't watch stuff with her.
Also,
But
also Manny Jacinto.
Yes.
Oh,
Arms.
from Acolyte. He's hot. Okay, I'm distracted now.
Push the
So
button.
it was good. How about that, Benji?
You can push the button if you need time to push the button. Okay.
Moment pass. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I thought this was great, like really good, like action two-parter in the spirit of great action two-parters that we've had in Trek, like really similar to like a lot of the Voyager, like Borg Bonanza ones, where there's a lot of Delta Flyer flying around, space battle stuff. So yeah, I thought it was fun for that. It was really ambitious. I also noticed that like it seemed like they put a little extra into the cinematography in this one. There like lots of interesting shots. It was like really pretty to watch this one. I'm glad that I think at this point have definitively sort of pulled back from the brink of JC. I don't remember how the rest of the season goes, so but I think it's sort of put to bed at this point in that first scene in the first the two episodes. Thank God. And then the thing that I really like about it, which is something that I always want Prodigy to be doing, which is that it's like there are lots of great moments of like young people sort of having their first experiences, kind of like when you first go into your career and it's sort of like exciting and you're unsure of yourself, but people are like putting their faith in you for the first time, saying like, you can do this, you know what you're doing, you're ready. And sort of like several of the characters had a moment like that in this episode. There were like lots of moments where they showed faith in one another. So like lots of really good lessons for young people, which is like exactly what I want to see in this show, to be building the next generation of Trekkies. We want them all. Who's next?
Me, I'm next. They're good at this. Was a good week. Like it's a good kind of end of Act 3 into Act 4 of the season. It sets stuff up again. The momentum's back up. I also have some gripes in terms of some of the visual stuff. Like the ship scaling is really frustrating because that ship, the Protostar, only has like I think 6 crew members total, and it's huge. And it's like and then that Voyager A is supposed to have 700 to 800 crew members, and it's fucking schools on it and a giant fish tank, and the Protostar's like enormous. So there's some issues there. It's very Star Trek. I mean, how many times did the Defiant change size? I mean, it was constantly fluctuating. Regardless, and also I don't know what it is. This is going to be a very nitpicky thing. I don't know why New Trek has the torpedo so fucking slow. The thing with the torpedo is it has a warp drive in it. It's supposed to go like the speed of light. Like it's supposed to move quickly. Like they're not these slow things. Like in Picard season 3, it's like you could just like move out of the way. Like the torpedoes are supposed to be quick. They're missiles. It's like, why would you launch something the speed of, well, it needs to move faster. Speed of plot, my fucking ass. Like speed of physics, bitch. Like fucking drive. It also drives me nuts when they fire phasers at warp 2. Like that's an established thing. It's like those don't work at warp anyway. Stupid. The thing that my nerd brain latches onto.
Bitch, the way I did not know a torpedo had a warp drive, like I
Yeah,
don't fucking pay
they're
attention
supposed
to
to.
that
It
shit.
doesn't have a
But it
warp
blew my
drive. It has
mind.
an antimatter warhead. There's no warp drive in
Whatever.
it. Well,
Whatever. I don't give a shit. They're supposed to move quickly. I don't give a fuck what's in it. They can fire them at warp. It's stupid. It's a fucking cruise missile. It should move like one, not move like a goddamn like Volkswagen Jetta on the freeway. Like get that fucking shit moving.
Yeah, they
It's
should
stupid.
move too. That's something that I want to see in Trek is they always go in one direction. Like
Right.
they should be able to move around like a missile.
Right. Yeah.
We've seen them move and
Like move and stuff. They should. This is a complete sidebar, but like the only time I've ever been pleased with what torpedoes were doing was Star Trek Nemesis. It was the only time I liked what the torpedoes were doing, because it was like, oh, they weren't just little balls of light. Just stupid. Anyway, but she fires like half a dozen torpedoes and they move so fucking slow. It's like that, and of course they gotten those ships in the way. It's dumb. Yeah, we should do a salon where we just bitch about things that irritate us about Star Trek.
And
That'd be
how
a
would
fun
that
one.
be different than the regular?
Then this,
salon?
I know this. We would just do it all in one spot. Yeah. Oh, episode. Right. Since I didn't realize that. Yeah. Right. I'm a little tired today. I had actually used my brain today at work. Asencia's she has kind of become like a great villain for me because I always judge a villain by any time they come on screen, and I'm like, I fucking hate that they're there. Because like they write her where she's always winning, and not in a way where she's winning because she's just smarter. She's winning because she's a fucking bitch, and I relate too much to it. So I go, God damn it. Like I go, I don't want to see myself represented that much. I don't want someone to hold a mirror to me and go, you the problem, bitch. Like, no, I don't need that. So no, love it. She surprised me as being kind of the villain. Exactly, blame them. She surprised me as kind of developing into the villain of at least these 2 seasons. I am continually frustrated with the Chakotay Janeway over intimacy, but I know we'll talk about it. Anyway, great. I think there's some problematic things, especially with Zero. I want to talk about it. And I like all of the character development things. That how Dahl is finding his place as the XO, like he's deferring to people instead of trying to do stuff himself and offering sound tactical advice. So it's great to see that happen. Good episodes. Good. Trevor.
First, I have to sound off on something happening in the chat where Jake indicated that he would like an intention setter where we all discuss what positions we favor. And I have questions about why you have that question. That he clarifies in the next comment. I'm just being.
There are a bunch of bottoms on this salon.
I'm just being obnoxious. But
and
Jake,
one verse. Sorry, Will. God.
I was not trying to throw Jake under the bus, but that was
we won't take any verse shaming here.
That's not
just because you're all gutless bottoms doesn't mean I have to be. Stop trying to convert me, fucking Scientologist.
I'm a power
butthole.
top. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we knew that.
We know.
That's why they're all scared of you. They're scared of your raw power.
I don't know which one to do. This one probably. And this one. And I think this is our first trifecta. In the arms of the angel.
And had Joanne not already earned bonus points twice in the first 30 minutes of the salon, she would get them for the trifecta as well. But we'll just move on.
Trevor, what are your top thoughts on this?
These episodes, what position do I favor thoughts on this episode? I might be returning to my lack of fondness for two-parters. I could be settling back into to a previously established quirk in my personality. I didn't dislike these episodes. I feel very about these two. I think this is the first time I feel very RuPaul about this. I'm just kind of meh about these two. I very much appreciate the character development that occurred for Dahl. I think we'll appreciate and also pick apart the character development for Zero. I tend to not be fond of Asencia, but I appreciate that we didn't get so much of her this season that when she did pop on the screen, I had the same reaction that Janeway had. So I was displeased to see her, but not because we'd seen her too much, but because I'm like, oh, that bitch again. Like, was the appropriate reaction. So I appreciated all of that. And most of the time, I'm not super fond of Gwen. I've said that before. It's my hot take. I'm sticking to it. But in this episode, I appreciated the development that Gwen got. I think there were some cool things for her. I think there were some cool things, just in case anybody is worried about spoilers, even though Krista's not here, if anybody in the audience is worried about spoilers, there are some cool shifts happening that we know will happen later in terms of where people land, and I appreciated seeing those happen. I did not enjoy the space battle, and I'm a sucker for a space battle, particularly because TNG always just gave us data telling us what was happening outside the ship as opposed to showing it, because showing it was expensive. But I just it it felt a little Michael Burnham combat scene where instead of just showing her kick ass for 25 seconds, we had to see it for 3.5 minutes. It just felt a little too drawn out. Also, though, I had to check myself and recognize that I'm 112 years old and this is not designed for people necessarily my age. So keeping the battle going and flashing back to it and going back and forth was appropriate for different attention spans than my own. So I can't fault the episode. I will just say that I had a little bit of I shared Joanne's "what just happened" several times while watching them because I drifted a little bit. But it's a beautiful show. I appreciated the character development, and yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
All right, topping thoughts aside, let's get into the bits of this episode. The chat is lovely.
You haven't topped anything in years.
Correct.
Been on the bottom for a long time.
Apparently, we need the Jeopardy theme song as a button because that took you a while.
Listen, it's been a while since anything happened, much less topping for me. This is a Star Trek podcast. Welcome, everybody. Let's talk about this episode. Let's start with Admiral Buzzkill. So we get a little bit of exposition by way of Dal's personal log, explaining what the crew has been up to thus far. We've had some time shenanigans. We finally reunited Chakotay and Janeway in their intimate only friendship. And now we need to get the protostar back where it needs to be so that the time shenanigans can end and the loom will no longer be looming to destroy us. And Admiral Buzzkill, Admiral 4-shift rotation himself, which, by the way, is the better way to do it for the record, just not the way he went about mandating it, says, hold on now. Y'all have done enough. DTI has taken this over. Get back to your desk, Janeway. And I said, ooh. I said, oh, no, he didn't. Y'all's thoughts on Admiral Buzzkill trying to chain the first woman captain to a desk. How dare she? In a franchise. Disclaimers.
This is why Jellicoe is a horrible Starfleet officer. I have always hated him. The only people who like him are like the Manosphere types. Every like good starship captain knows that it's like all about, like when you get invested in a mission, you're the ones that carry it out. You don't just like outsource it to another department. You finish that shit. You do it for your crew, save your, whatever. That's yeah. Hate Jellicoe.
And it was dumb because, so on the one hand, Starfleet's too busy to come help us fucking fight, but then, they want to reassign the mission. I was just like, this is not about that. This is about something else. You fucking cunt, Jellicoe. So, I was just like, that makes no sense. Let him finish it, I don't know. That was dumb.
I don't hate Jellicoe, but that felt forced. It just felt like we need tension. We need someone telling them to do the exact opposite of what we want them to do for the story. So make it Jellicoe.
Yeah, I did. He's a little like needlessly like he's a little what am I trying to say? He's a little too strict with Janeway, I think, especially in this. Like I think that there's a mission at stake and they've clearly issued like like I'm sure they've dictated the stakes of what's happening, and I don't think 2 ships is going to make a difference in the Romulan evacuation, especially one ship that apparent is, while huge, only can house about a small first grade classroom. So I don't know what they're expecting the fucking protostar to do. Like, so I don't understand that. And then the it seems like it's there for the plot, but like I have I have to point out that the screen grab you got of Jellicoe is terrifying. It literally Jellicoe jump scared because it horrifying photo. It's so weird. Anyway, please get that away.
I tried, like, whenever I'm
Yeah.
doing the visuals, I watch for like 10 to 15 seconds around what I'm trying to grab.
Right.
And with these,
It just looks
with
like
the
he's
animated
buffering.
show, yeah,
just like
it's hard to get even in the animated shows. It's hard to get them making a face that isn't jump scare.
right. Yeah. No, I know. I just thought it was funny. It just took me off guard. Yeah, I dislike him just as much as I did in TNG. And I find that he's a little needlessly strict in terms of what's going on, especially when I'm sure Janeway has issued the warning to him about what's happening. And he knew she's gonna fucking defy him anyway, so fuck Jellicoe.
And his tone was very much like, "Go fucking make me a sandwich." Like, like, go back to
Yeah,
work.
he comes off like a misogynist. Like he always
Yeah.
seems to be targeting women. Like he targeted Troy, he targets Janeway. Like
Mhm.
it does feel a little like yeah, fuck Rick Berman. Yeah. He does seem to be targeting like women and like men who might have a little sugar in their tank, like Riker. Like, I mean, it's just too much.
I feel
I'm
like
just throwing it in there.
I feel like in Chain of Command he started out on the wrong path by giving "Get it done" his catchphrase. Like
Right.
that just set him down, because what would have been fantastic is if we find out that Janeway is the only one in Starfleet with a good relationship with Jellicoe, and there were a lot more Edwards and Catherines than there were Admiral Jellicoes and Admiral Janeway. It would have been fun to set up a different dynamic where he was still giving her orders that he needed to give her, but wasn't the curmudgeon that he's been every time he's shown up.
Right.
Also, again, 4-shift rotation makes total sense. Do it today makes no sense. You need to give people time. That's the fucking flagship. They have what, 300 labs on board. They need time to figure
It's
out
not just
who's going to
that.
take over telecartography for a day.
He did it right in the middle of an enormous crisis. That's not when you do it.
Also that.
I think that was kind of the point, though. I might be Team Jellicoe on that point alone. I'm not 100%.
So everybody's sleep pattern is going to be fucked up.
Yes, just like residents in when medical residents work 36-hour shifts, because you should be able to diagnose the most confusing and problematic situation unconsciously.
To do it
And
on a
so
drill.
The purpose being to test that crew, and I think given what he thought they were going into, it made sense. Even though he was fucking with our
Until the
favorite
ship
people.
blows up.
He was fucking with our favorite people, but he put Troy in the right uniform. Yet still shouldn't be telling her what to wear. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Blame women.
Troy boys.
Yeah, just blame
Troy boy.
women.
All right. Let's talk about putting these kids back in danger because it's been too long. We get Gwen called to the bridge for a to be determined reason. It may be this, it may be something else. But the way the dialogue goes tells me it wasn't this. But then Iltheron / her father, but not her father yet, and also maybe never her father. I'm realizing in real time we need to figure that out. No, because never mind, because they yeah. It's the whole fucking point. They're gonna get the protostar back, she'll be fine. Great. So bitch face calls in and says, no, you're not dealing with Iltheron, you're dealing with me. And battle ensues. So we get not only Asencia's bitch ass coming in and making a stink of everything, but we also get this fun battle to figure out how to fire torpedoes very slowly in a single line. Thoughts on Asencia in this episode and Iltheron being in danger?
It's good setup for the stakes of the rest of this end of the season. I like I said, I like Asencia as the kind of villain of as she's kind of emerged from the backstabby spy to the villain. It makes a lot of sense, and it's nice that we're getting someone that has more of a relationship in terms of villains, because sometimes, especially in newer Star Trek, we've been missing that, where I want to have an antagonist character through more time. Like we don't get Gul Dukats anymore. We don't get Qs really anymore. We get Osira for 2.5 episodes. So like it's kind of a bummer. Like but now it's nice that we got someone for, two full seasons that has a relationship with Janeway that brings the emotional stakes, that has a relationship with Gwen, with the people of Solom, with Iltheron. Like it's nice that there's someone who has more of a relationship, because it makes them seem more dangerous, instead of just some green woman who shows up. I like that. I have a nitpick with the phasers of the show too, because they're just beams of light. It just pisses me off.
I said this last week and people gave me shit for it. Those phasers don't do anything. Like, why are there no burn marks?
Yeah, it's not just that. It's the way they're animated. I know this is like an asset they're reusing, and this is probably helping them save money and time, and I appreciate it. It's just, it's always the same red beam, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. It just annoys me. I like the way the phasers are drawn. I'm just like, because they're kind of, they don't like a beam. They're just like on, off, on, off, on, off. Nitpicky thing again. And yeah, no, it's great. It's great. The battle's fine. But I like Asencia as a character, her coming back, because now she's more dangerous in the first than the first season.
Did anybody have other thoughts on Asencia before I wanted to mention something in the battle that I want to get y'all's thoughts on?
I would like Will to say her name the way that Janeway did.
I had to think about it. Hold on. We could land the ship. Asencia! There it is.
Asencia.
Asencia!
It sounds almost like Excelsior.
Excelsior! Yeah.
Also, I'm counting that as a we could land the ship, even though you said
Thank you
it's
so
just
much.
crap. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you need the jump off phrase to Asencia.
I had to think about it.
Catherine Hepburn.
Catherine Hepburn.
Janeway to Janeway. I gotta stop.
I can't have Mulgrew ever see this. We can never show her this.
She will find us and she will kill us.
She's gonna come to DC and she's gonna kill me.
Yes.
She's gonna do it. That's how I'm gonna die.
For a campaign event. She's gonna be like, thank you everybody. Be sure to vote. I have an errand to run.
Yeah. That gypsy woman at the Orange County Fair was right. And then Kate Mulgrew stabs me to death.
That lack of segue. Let's talk about these kids putting themselves in danger. Like usual, I have it on in the background, and this moment I wanted to talk about is actually happening right now, so it's nice timing wise. So we get a fun little injury that causes the crew to separate. We need somebody to take this super chatty female Lorian to sickbay. We need to replace her in the fighter squadron, and the crew needs to stop dilly-dallying to get to the protostar, which is under current barrage. And again, very quintessential Trek, taking the most time in a red alert in an emergency for these really lovely moments, like Dal and Gwen turning around. I'll see you when I see you. Not if I see you first. Girl, we don't have time for this. Get to the ship. But lovely moment with Dal being recruited to be part of this fighter squadron, being placed not in command, but where he's better suited. Thoughts on Dal's role shifting in this this episode?
I have thoughts
Trevor.
because this is the part that I think I was struggling to articulate last week. Maybe it was the week before. They all start to run together after enough Salon cocktails. That said, this is the turn where I mentioned his superpower was sort of putting himself in danger. There's always that slightly reckless character who slowly learns when it's appropriate to be reckless and when it isn't. You need that I'll be brave in the face of what is probably death character, especially in Star Trek. And Dal is that character. We just happened to meet him at a time where he hadn't calibrated his meter yet. He hadn't figured out when it was safe and when it wasn't. And did it endanger other people at times? Yes. So do characters who play it safe sometimes. So I don't fault him for that. But this episode gave us a very real step in the right direction for Dal in terms of him recognizing that putting himself in danger, that taking risks and being cavalier is a strength when used properly, and he used it properly. And so I was sort of elated for the character because I like being right.
Benji or Will?
I like that he at the beginning of this towards the beginning of the season has was upset that he wasn't the captain, but is finding his place as someone who like as the executive officer, what that means for him and where his strength lies in terms of not putting other people in, like making decisions that put other people in danger, but allowing himself to kind of be used more as an instrument. It's terrible to say that, used more as an instrument for a mission rather than like commanding other people to do it. Like the position of power is not his his strength is not in command, but in like help facilitating a mission. So it's a little different. Like like I always found it a little like in Star Trek where it's like, oh, a first officer, they always promote to captain. What if someone wants to stay a first officer? Like, like maybe they don't want it. I mean, I would never want to be captain. Fuck. So like,
Absolutely not. The way that I become captain is the way I become captain is the way that I become guardian of my niece. A lot of people have to die. Like
right.
and it should not happen.
Yeah, I no, I don't want to. I don't need that in my life. So I would rather, that's as far as I would go. But him falling into this position is good. It makes the backsliding earlier in the season a little more worth it.
He kind of reminds me of a lot of like both corporate and nonprofit leaders who are like I've had bosses like this who are like really ADHD visionary types and need like people around them to know them very well and to ground them in order for them to be able to do their thing. So I think he actually could be a very good leader one day. He's like very, very young and just starting out. Not unlike a certain stab through the heart in a bar fight Picard. So I think he could have a long career ahead of him and still could end up in command, certainly. But he can't be captain immediately. He has to find his way there.
Yeah, I would like to see, just because it was mentioned now, it had me thinking it would be cool to encounter a first officer who never became commanding officer, but just did something else in their career. To a certain extent, that was Spock. Spock commanded Enterprise, but commanded Enterprise as a training ship. So, at least that I recall, there's no canonical Captain Spock as commanding officer of a starship. So I think it's kind of cool that an XO.
I thought he
not
did. I thought he did command a 5. I thought he commanded a 5-year mission after the motion picture. I think, if I'm not, but that's like not. It's not canonical. It's like referred. It's like they infer it at one point, and
Yeah,
like
the timing
that it
isn't
became a
clear
training ship.
between, between TMP and becoming the training ship in Wrath of Khan. There's supposed to be a few years there, but it's never been super clear.
The
Yeah.
timing is weird with those films anyway, because like more time passed between the end of the original series and the beginning of TMP than actually passed in universe, which always messed with my
Right.
head, because so far Star Trek has since the first season of Next Gen, Star Trek has sort of kept up with whatever year it is. It's that many years after Next Gen,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that gets confusing with those films. But
We
from
finally
my
have something that Ken would be helpful for, and he's not here. Damn
Right.
it.
of all the weeks,
Right.
Yeah.
the
And it's fine being bitchy about Ken. He's never going to watch this. We love Ken. It's in jest.
Everyone loves Ken. He is Kenough. But I would like to see more of that, even though, because technically Spock was still, I guess we could argue that, well, no, because we see Colonel Kira in command of DS9, not just in the final episode as sort of a temporary in command, but she's still in command in
Right.
lower decks. So yeah, we don't really have an example of that, and I would like one.
And then apparently you don't have to be a captain to be in command, because Cisco was a commander and was in command of DS9.
Yeah, and you
That was
take
a weird-
you take command at times. Like this is the executive officer position is something that's incredibly important. Like look at any corporate board, look at any nonprofit. Your president or your executive director is whatever, but what you really need is a COO. Like if I were in the Trek universe, I think I would probably work my way up to an executive officer, and then when they're like, "Hey, do you want your own ship?" I'm like, honestly, no. Like, what could be fun is send me to a ship with a new captain. Like if I like I'm at year 8 of being an executive officer, like send me around to different ships to be a partner to a new captain. They're still in charge. I'm new, so it's not like weird with my experience. That is something that I would like to see as well. Welcome back, Joanne. I'm doing musical panelists here. Joanne, not to throw you into the torpedo tube, but do you have any thoughts on Dal's progression, realizing, oh, I make more sense over here as a fighter pilot right now rather than trying to command?
I actually really loved that moment. And I also appreciated, like, he was like, hey, I can do this. But I appreciated Chakotay really affirming that. And that's really for me, like the sign of a skilled leader is not just knowing your people, but knowing, what they're good at, where they're the best resource. And putting them there. As soon as Chakotay was like, I know you can go fast. He's good at going fast. And he was just like, hey, he paid attention to me, right? And he's supporting me, even though he had to move me. He had to correct me the other time and move me from a position. He appreciates me and he values me. So I thought that was a really touching moment as I deal with my own people leader issues, right? So I thought that was a good. I like that moment. I like that moment, and I do like that Dal is kind of coming to his own and just figuring out where he belongs is where he belongs, wherever he's needed most. Again, it's kind of the whole conversation he had with Chakotay. Like when you don't know what to do, you feel lost, figure out where they need you most. And that's what he does. So it was really, really, I really like that. I really like that.
There's a really great moment with Majel too, where she kind of stands up for him and says that she saw him do, she saw him at work and that he would be a great asset to replace the injured pilot. So
Right.
it's great that other people are also seeing it, that are in leadership, because she's kind of the leader of Nova Squadron. So she's like, people are recognizing him when he's not being a total fucking asshole. So that's great.
There was one thing about it didn't really happen in that moment. It wasn't really a doll moment, but one thing that happened in that scene where he ran to the fighter ship, whatever the hell those things were called, those little shuttles, where he mentions that it was designed by Lieutenant Paris. Why is Tom Paris still a lieutenant? Is he the new Harry Kim?
Maybe
He got demoted again. He keeps getting demoted.
I
He
mean,
probably got demoted to commander and then did something stupid and got demoted again. He keeps getting demoted. He got
Lieutenant,
court-martialed back to ensign, and now he's back to lieutenant. Harry Kim's still an ensign.
Harry Kim is ensign of the fleet.
I desperately wished for an ensign Harry Kim cameo this season. Just for that. I need to add that to my list of questions for Aaron. Just for the fun. Yes, Fleet Ensign Kim. It's a good one, Benji. Any other thoughts on Dal, the space battle, the pew pew pews before we talk about Zero?
Well, I did also like the moment, I guess I think that was in the battle, when they were like, well, I don't know if I'm ahead of myself or not. I'm all wandery. And Dal says, forget your training, they figure that out. I thought that was a nice little hat tip to, and it might not have been, but in my mind, it immediately went to, is a Strange New Worlds episode. And again, kind of a tense situation or lots going on. And Rebecca Romaine, number one, goes, remember your training, right? And, and they all kind of kicked in. But so I thought it was a nice little kind of hat tip to that, to like, sometimes you remember it and that keeps you focused and you get the job done, but sometimes you kind of have to innovate. I don't know, I like that moment. It was clever.
Yeah. And a quick detour, because I think the conversation about Zero is going to be a little longer, because I know I have thoughts and I know others do as well. Let's talk about this moment. We get a bit of a reveal, not terribly shocking, but there was a lot of like, where the hell did she get this technology? And then we find out, oh shit, she's got the Traveler, Wesley Crusher, in some kind of asphyxiation gear, making him give her all of his future knowledge and what will become the portal technology that we saw in Picard season 3. We see the birth of it here. Thoughts on this reveal that Wesley has been captured and is being forced to aid our enemy?
My thoughts are just go ahead and push the button, because what I'm thinking is highly inappropriate.
About Will Wheaton, about Wesley Crusher, about this headgear.
Yes.
I mean, it looks a little. I mean, no, it doesn't. We're just disgusting.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
On the topic of not being disgusting, I think him being captured is again with the Asencia, it raises the stakes, like it makes her more dangerous. And it was a cool kind of I remember the first time watching it being like, oh, this going to be a twist or something. Like I thought it was going to be like Iltheron, like older, like she was gonna there was gonna be another twist where it was her, some other twist other than it being Wesley. Because I thought he was just kind of, it felt like the last episode he was in felt a little more like, okay, he's gone, bye. So that it's a cool callback, and it's cool that like some of the shit that they're doing is like Traveler tech and like technology from the future that he like can glean. So cool stuff. I mean, it we know more. I don't want to spoil anything, but I have it. It's just, it was cool. I'm glad that he's back in it, and I'm glad that there's a certain level of danger to him being captured, and just Asencia being a fucking bitch. Like, it's just great.
Benji or Joanne, thoughts on the Traveler being in Asencia's clutches? In Jamila's evil clutches?
Jamila's evil clutches. I did like the whole sort of notion of when he said space, time, and thought shouldn't be weaponized like this. Because in some level, like you just said, oh, this is how we got the whatever technology in Picard 3, a blur, have no idea what you're talking about. But I thought it kind of took me to Discovery season 5, because that's precisely kind of what the progenitors tech was and what they were afraid of, right? People weaponizing that, and that's very much, I think, a space-time thought kind of doohickey, right? So and I think we see that theme kind of play out when we get to Zero too. Kind of I don't know if it's the antithesis of weaponizing space, time, and thought. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we talk about Zero. But I thought that was a cool concept. And yeah, him all bound up was hot.
All due respect to Mrs. Wheaton.
In the arms of the angel.
Sometimes it takes a second to get there. And real quick, Will and Trevor are not allowed to answer this question, but folks in the chat, Benji or Joanne, if anybody gets this reference, my safe word is Anya. I don't know, a high five or a frosty beverage whenever we meet in person. If anybody gets that reference of where Anya as his safe word comes from, Will and Trevor don't get to answer, because we were texting about this earlier tonight, because I had a worse header in mind for this. But out of respect for Mr. Wheaton, I turned it into a safe word as Anya. Benji, Joanne, anybody? All right, let's give it a second in the chat. In 5, 4, 3. Well, if you get it, then say what it is, Norman. Let's wait for Norman to. Let's not wait, but like Norman, get your answer in. We'll check back in a moment. Yes, you should, because I want to see. I want to see somebody get it before I say what it is. My safe.
It's a brilliant deep cut.
That is correct. The Guardian in the episode The Dauphine. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but the episode where Wesley is being groomed by a woman who how much older? She was like 14 years older than, and presumably still is 14 years older than him.
10 years older. Yeah, she was 26. He was 16.
Yeah. Acting. Anya was the Guardian creature that wanted to fight with Worf, and maybe fuck him.
Kill the patient.
Yeah,
that's her.
Kill the patient. All right. Speaking of killing the patient, let's talk about Zero. I have some thoughts. I found myself in this episode feeling some things about the trajectory of this character. Zero is a wonderful character. I love them in any form that they take. And we've talked about this before. Zero, to me, feels like an allegory for disability, for neurodivergence. You know, in these episodes, their body is starting to break down because they left the planet. We knew that was going to happen. And I've got some conflicting thoughts around the resolution, because we get to this point where it looks like they might actually kill this character, which good on them. Like, I think they did an excellent job of making it feel like, oh shit, this main character is in some real danger. We might be pulling a Game of Thrones here in this new era of Trek. I'm glad they didn't. But kudos to them for pushing it to the point where this is the second time I was like, oh, they might be killing Zero. But then I thought about it. I was like, oh, this is the second time that they might be killing this disabled neurodivergent character, and I have feelings about that. But then no, it's fine. New body, nobody cares. And the things that were bad about his old exosuit now
Fair.
are solved, and I have feelings. So my disability is gone. Hooray. Is just one interpretation of the art before us. I'm torn. Discuss. Who has thoughts on this? Joanne, you're pulling down your microphone. You're sipping some water.
Getting ready.
The babies, Joanne. Take it away.
So yeah, I have thoughts too, and well, I've been conflicted about this whole sort of journey, and I think Zero, they are coded on a number of levels, and this arc is coded on a number of levels, right? Disability, like you said, neurodivergence. I've heard and I could see trans identity. And like I mentioned, I think briefly, kind of even when they first got the body, that whole experience on the planet was also very religious coded. And had some dynamics going on that I think it played out here as well. Because on one hand, like my first watch of it, I was just like, oh, this is really touching that Zero made this sacrifice, right? And it is touching. I don't want to be dismissive of it. It is touching. And kind of what I was saying, that Zero, time's all wonky in the room, and you can't get close, but Zero has a different understanding. Medusans don't age like they do, and like humans do, or humanoids do, and they kind of think about their why as they're getting to the weapon or whatever they need to do, technical babble, blah blah blah, whatever Zero had to do to make it win. So their thought is a motivator, and helps them complete the task. Beautiful sacrifice, lovely. They win. But we've watched Zero kind of wrestle with this notion of embodying sensations and touch, and the joy of kind of being corporeal for, and I guess maybe it was the weight of the sacrifice, but it was an immediate like, well, I don't age like that, and this body is just a container, and so I can just throw it away, or I'm willing to risk to throw it away. I was just kind of like, woo, that's a heavy decision, right? And it also kind of says, because the way it read to me, where it started becoming problematic, because it was like, well, I'm broken anyway, right? Um, and so, I might as well just go all the way. And as someone, again, who lives with, their own physical limitations, um, that's a hard sort of thing to embrace. That, I don't know, it's a weird sacrifice, I guess. That, yes, I would sacrifice and I would lay down my life, right, for my friends, but it wouldn't be an easy sort of decision, right? It wouldn't, it was like, it was split second, like, well, it's a broken body anyway, I'll just throw it away. I don't know. I'm getting worked up. But it was conflicting for me. It was conflicting for me.
So
Well, puts in the chat a great question. Would Zero have made the same decision if their new body wasn't broken? And not to fix it, because I think all thoughts are valid, because I share them, but we have seen Zero be self-sacrificing before. So I would argue the answer is yes. One reason why they ended up with the new body was their exosuit got fucked up when they were potentially sacrificing themselves in the Kazon episode. That doesn't alleviate it all, but I think that is worth noting. But Benji, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, well, I think that at least the end game of the story was to address your original issue with their transmogrification into a tall, skinny, green, perfect body person. Was that at the end of it, they decided that they were fine being in the round body, and that's where they ended up. I actually was really surprised when they basically did the same suit again. I thought it was going to be something in between. I thought it was going to be more humanoid, but maybe the swirly purple stuff was going to be in a face of something more golem like. But they chose to be shorter and rounder Zero again, which I think was the point of that journey, that they experienced all those things and decided that they were okay as they were, which again it's a good simple story for kids, from a body image perspective, I guess.
No, that's absolutely fair, right? Because yeah, my original thing is there's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with Zero from the jump, right? And I thought it was important because Zero's round. Um, and I do love that they came back to that. But then why didn't I guess they did start working on the body though when they broke their leg. But it wasn't oh, well, when they broke their leg, they still kind of held on to this, to their body, to the broken body. I don't know. It was very weird. But yeah, point well taken, Benji.
Yeah.
Point well taken.
Yeah, I agree. I just wish that they made it more explicit. That literally the line, my previous body was fine as it was. This new one has some I'm trying to be a writer and I can't think of anything good other than some new bells and whistles to it, but whatever. I think there was a moment there where they could have been a little more explicit about their new body being I already had a great body. This new body is less I don't know.
I just needed some new gloves, right? So-
Yeah. As somebody who has goals around my body, it took a lot of therapy to get to the point where I no longer care about my weight as a number. I care more about how I feel and how my clothing fits and how that makes me feel. That's what I try to focus on. So in my Star Trek, where there aren't a lot of fat people, there aren't a lot of round bodies, it was nice to see them end up back in a more rotund exoskeleton, for sure.
I do wonder, knowing where things go, and again, the next 60 seconds will be spoilery if you're watching this and you don't want spoilers, so jump ahead. How much of the body transition was meant to potentially maybe internally be inspired by, I can't be with Mijel unless I change myself, only to realize that my original self was more than enough.
Yeah, you were already enhancing her abilities. That's all you need.
I think Mijel is it sapiosexual or something? She's only interested in Zero's mind. Doesn't care about the container.
I don't know. They were finger touching. Spoiler.
That's true. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They're
were
Vulcan
Vulcan
finger
fingering.
Big
banging.
deal.
They're Vulcan fingering in a couple of episodes. So sorry, spoiler alert.
It's okay. We're within the minute. I
Yeah.
warned people.
Final thoughts? Nope. Trevor.
I stepped on something Will was about to say though.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I agree that it could have been more explicit about him deciding to be in the other body, or someone going, "Oh, we thought you would pick something more humanoid," and him being like, "I was fine the other way."
yeah.
I mean, like and there's kind of something to say that like the form that he had when we first saw him, which I'm assuming is something he kind of built and created himself. Those kind of my interpretation of his season 1 body being kind of looking very hodgepodge. That there was something that he made, that this was a body that he was proud of. So like for him to constantly go back to that round form, there could have been something more explicit. It does. Oh, them. That there was something that this was something that they enjoyed their body to be a certain. I'm losing my train of thought. There
But
just
See
needed to
what
because
be a
it's
happens when
line.
you
weird.
misgender people?
Yeah, wow. Thank you, Stanley. Really love to point that out.
Sorry.
I
No, you didn't mean
thank you. I was just following your lead from last week.
and ignoring the correction from this week. Wow.
Whatever. Fight me.
Don't make
You slipped up.
Don't make me pull this salon over.
You're both pretty.
Thank you.
I know. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Will, now that we're back on track.
No, I'm good.
No, but it was because it's weird. I do think, Benji, I do think your point is valid, and I think that was the intent, right? I'm zero. I go on this little journey, I figured try these things out. It's exciting, but then I go back, right? And realize, I'm kin enough, or, I am beautiful. That sort of thing. But the way they went about it was so sort of wonky and kind of mixed messagey that it just leaves you kind of like, what was this, right? And what was the motivations, and what were, the intentions here? It just was not, it was weird. It was weird. Fight me.
Anybody want to fight Joanne on that? Didn't think so. Final thoughts on this episode before we wrap things up. Either episode, any aspects we haven't talked about. Final thoughts on Ascension parts 1 and 2.
Meh.
Meh. Just a meh for Trevor. Benji, your final thoughts?
Well, why couldn't the doctor go in with his mobile emitter that he was wearing?
He said it would rust.
No, well, he said that the hollow emitters in there were rust. Okay.
I don't know. It's a good question because it's from the 29th century or something, so he should be able to go in there with it.
It's got to have like a rust-proof coating on it or something.
You
The
would think
doctor's like, not my gay ass. He's like, I'm not going in there.
you want me to take my jewels in there? Absolutely not.
That was the first canonical acknowledgement of the Doctor's homosexuality. He was like, "Oh no, girl, no."
Oh no, not this. Oh, this is an indoor thing. I don't take that out. Oh no.
That is a question that I have for the Prodigy team, and when I get the opportunity to ask, I will. Like, because I feel like at this point, with the ship has hollow emitters everywhere, and we've seen him hollow out, not like beam out. So, like, I feel like he's just wearing a hologram version of his mobile emitter while on Voyager A. Like, I think it's a fashion piece for him now. Otherwise it's beaming out while he is hollow projecting out.
Girl, that is some
It's
head cannon.
I mean, look, the special effect, like it's him hollowing out. It's not a transporter effect every time he's moved from one part of the ship to another. So what's happening to that physical thing if that is his mobile emitter? I'm not wrong, and don't make me pull it, man. If it was closer, I would pull my whiteboard and be like, and I'll prove it with red yarn and everything.
If he doesn't need it anymore, he should just get a tattoo of it.
He kind of does if he doesn't need it.
Part of him.
Just on the. Yeah. Now I think about it, in Voyager, whenever he beamed out, he like his whole body beamed out, just not the emitter.
Yeah, it's his whole body.
So like the emitter should just go and he should just vanish.
Yeah.
And the emitter arrives and he just kind of pops up.
Yeah.
Or like someone just holds the emitter. Like why did he beam out
that would be
all
hilarious.
in one?
Can you hold this real quick?
Oh yeah, I'll hold that. It'd be suck to be the one person on the away mission. I have to hold the doctor. Like, that's so fucking demoralizing. Like, oh, here. And he's like, oh.
They get a red shirt whose job is just
He just beams down, drops the pin, and comes back. Like, he doesn't even stay. He's just like, oh, fuck it. I'll come back when the mission's over.
Thank you so much for having me on this away team. It's my first time. I'm not going to let you down. What do you need me to do? I'm sorry, what? Just hold the emitter? Just during transport. Oh, okay. And then we're on the planet. Oh no, I'm coming right back up. Okay, well, joined Starfleet to explore, so here we are.
Listen,
thanks for including.
If transporter chief is a job, you literally just stand there waiting for someone to come in and be beamed down. Yes. And if turbolift control is a room on the Enterprise D, then emitter holder can be a job on the Voyager.
Yeah,
they could also just shoot it out of a cannon down to the planet.
That's what I was about to say. Why don't they just use the torpedo launcher and just launch it? Someone just throw it out the window. Someone's got really good aim. Like open the airlock and just chuck it. Like fuck this guy.
Also, if he doesn't need it, he should wear it like a medallion. He should like open.
Yeah. Why is it always on his arm and not like?
Oh, like a Dr. McCoy motion picture disco medallion.
Disco
That'd be fun.
Medallion. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Yeah. These are all great ideas.
We know the rules.
Yeah.
So I will.
Gotta write these down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Waltke.
All right. Will, any final thoughts on this episode?
No, good. Torpedo's too slow. That's all.
Fair. Joanne, your final thoughts on this episode?
It was good.
We'll take it. We love concise thoughts. Trevor, speaking of concise thoughts, what are your final thoughts? And then take us into the tally, please.
Great character stuff. Maybe more than we needed for a two-parter. But I'm not mad at it. And now for our tallies. That's an awkward transition. Anyway, for the scorecard tonight, there were 3 problematic gay alerts, 2 canon alerts, one of which I just applied myself because you went all head cannon-y but didn't push the button. 2 problematic ally alerts, 2 explosive saucer separations. Will landed the ship once. Bonus points. Deep Space Nine bonus points to Will for hating that bitch Kai Wynn. Another Deep Space Nine bonus points to Joanne for cutting a bitch. Looking at you, Cassidy Yates. An additional 5,000 bonus points to Joanne for wash your fucking face. 74,656 bonus points to Benji for finally helping me select a Trek tattoo. I'm going to do a mobile emitter right there. 1,701 bonus points to Norman in the chat for remembering that TNG Thumb War episodes remembering that TNG Thumb War episodes 6 and 7 are not available online. And 1 million bonus points to Jake for inadvertently hitting on the entire salon.
Yes. We always appreciate that. Another way that you can hit on the salon, like and subscribe. Check out our website. Again, we are now on Spotify, so please do follow us there. Give us a listen, rate, and leave comments. It'll help us grow. And of course, on Twitter and Blue Sky, here on YouTube, anywhere and everywhere you can, please like, follow, and subscribe. It helps us grow, helps us expand this nonsense into more of the Alpha Quadrant, and we appreciate it greatly. We will be back next Thursday talking about episodes 17 and 18. We're coming down to the wire towards the end of this wonderful season. Another plug for Netflix, watching the first and second season, rewatching it, leaving it on the background, and adding your voice to the clamoring on social media for season 3. There are a lot of more fun stories for this crew, and we hope to get to see them. So we will see you next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Until then, we hope everybody lives long and prospers. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.